And welcome to the program, folks. You're listening to Common Sense Radio, and I'm so glad to be here with you. I was on vacation last week, had some other things come up, so I used my greatly earned vacation day. Well, we start tonight on Labor Day. The world will end because the confirmation hearings of Brett Kavanaugh start this week. I'm going to sum up the entire week from leftists in one sentence for you. The world is in apocalyptic moment right now. That's all they're going to say. They're going to tweet. They're going to send. I can't wait because I sign up for the emails from the Democratic Party, the Republican Party. Can't wait to see email after email about how the world will end, how women of all will die. No. We're not going to cover that. We're not going to cover that this week. I mean, we could talk about Nike. We could talk about Aretha Franklin's funeral, John McCain's funeral. I mean, the list goes on. But where we're going to start tonight is a place that I attended last weekend, and that's partly because why I was off the air, was a millennial wedding. What do you think of when you think of millennials? Do you think of David Hogg, Emma Gonzalez? Seriously, what do you think of? Take a second, think about that. Do you think of Tide Pod challenges? Do you think everybody gets a trophy? Absurd college classes and degrees, underwater basket weaving, or a degree in Northeastern Australian gender studies. Something absurd is what you think of when you think of millennials. Or do you think back after the Parkland shooting coverage when David Hogg went through the media and would say over and over to people, quote, "We will outlive the NRA," end quote. "We will outlive our parents. We will outlive these politicians." Yeah, I know. You're taking your hands just like I am and rubbing them on your forehead and going, kimosabi, because that's what a lot of Americans think of when they think of millennials. But millennials are the largest age group in U.S. history with 80 million people. And what I attended was not your average millennial wedding. It was about 300 people. It was people that surrounded a couple with love. The ceremony was strictly about Christ, and it was centered around Him. There was no me, there was no I, there was no video game station, no Tide Pod station, and not everybody got a trophy. Not one person got a trophy. And that's something that I was happy to attend. It was phenomenal, and the thing that I just sat there and thought about the entire time was, why does everybody think so bad about millennials when I'm here experiencing people devoted to each other? And it made me rethink my entire life. I mean, weddings are they're a bond of love, and this was a bond of Christ's love. When they gave their vows, they talked about being the spiritual leader of their family and loving each other and following God's path for them. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. Seriously. So, the New Mexico terrorist compound, police have recovered a 10-page handwritten document titled Phases of a Terrorist Attack from the compound. That document included instructions for the one-time terrorist and provided detailed instructions on determining ideal attack locations using, quote, choke points, defending, and safe havens, end quote, escaping perimeter rings and detecting sniper positions. This document indicates that The defendants were not merely talking a deadly talk, but had been carefully planning an attack. Where's the mainstream media on this? Well, I mean, it's not just people like myself, not people, millennials. Where are people that should be following this story? This story is so important to the United States, to the world, and nobody is following. I mean, the people that were captured were released on a signature bond. The prosecutor failed to provide paperwork in a timely manner, and so these defendants went free. And I'm over at thefederalist.com, and the DA stated that one of the defendants were told that if police ever came to the property at night, they were to defend the property using firearms. That's a quote. I mean, the search of the property revealed numerous guns located at the end of a tunnel. The children told officials the tunnel served as an escape route should authorities raid the compound. I mean, this is terrifying. And people are just wiping it from underneath any news, any talking points. I mean, we're more worried about what Trump did, what the Supreme Court justice nomination process will be. We're worried about who's the face of the Just Do It campaign, because maybe the words were, not maybe, the words were bad that he's sacrificing something. I mean, the military sacrifice. But Nike's a private company. I don't care about this. To me, this is not, I mean, it's not important. This New Mexico story is more important, where they were training kids to be terrorists, to go shoot up schools. I mean, they're talking about choke points. They're talking about sniper positions. And all we have people are on child abuse and an ICE hold for one of the adults. We don't have anyone on terrorist attacks. We don't have anybody that could is of any importance right now. I mean, one of the guys kidnapped his son from Georgia and brought him over to New Mexico. The child ended up being dead, and there's nothing in the news on this. I searched all over. The Federalist was the first place that I found anything, and I mean, it's asinine. Let me pull up. Where are we at? Yeah, the Federalists are the only ones that I could find that had such a detailed story on this. And in January, following the kidnapping of his 3-year-old grandson, the imam made an appeal on Facebook for information on the whereabouts of his children and 12 grandchildren. And this is according to Andrew McCarthy over at National Review, who quotes this imam from Brooklyn, who runs a Brooklyn mosque, as a Sharia supremacist imam. So, for some of you who don't know, Sharia law is a form of Islamic law that's for their culture, for their religion, you know. And there's nothing wrong with Muslims. I have friends that are Muslim, but I think what scares people are Islamists. I mean, every religion there has people that absolutely terrifies you. I mean, that's one of the things that I find troubling with this story. It's one thing to wipe it underneath the table, but when you have as many pieces as this should be all over the news. This should be all over social media should be everywhere to get the story out. And if people are seeing anything like this, I mean, reports came in that they were going to go in with bulldozers and destroy this compound. It's in a police investigation, and they're already destroying it. Something is not right about this story. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but there's just something not right about this. And the trial of the blind sheik has ties to this child abuse case. Andrew McCarthy reports. I'm over at the National Review. And I'm glad places like the Federalist, National Review, Daily Wire, and The Blaze, those are good places. Those are places that I check that are actually reporting real news. I mean, the New York Times probably reported on this and then brushed it underneath, I'm sure, of this story. I mean, my goodness. I mean, there's so much in the news this week. And next week is going to be, or this coming week is going to be even more with the Supreme Court nominations. I mean, I could tell you, I could go off Twitter and just go boop, 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 and read to you. But I'm not going to do that. Because what I want to cover now, and I'll cover a little bit into the next break, is the funeral of Aretha Franklin, the Queen of Soul. As so many of you were watching the 9 hours of the service. Yeah, I said that right. 9 hours. And if you go on the internet, you could type in Bill Clinton memes. And if you don't live under a rock, you will see the pictures of Bill Clinton, with his hand on his face. I don't know what's going on. And then when Ariana, whatever her name is, I apologize, Mrs. Grande, because I feel bad for you in this situation. But whenever she got up there, oh boy, Willie had his mouth. He was just ready. He loved what he saw. I mean, and that's just typical Bill Clinton. Isn't it interesting that you didn't see any pictures with him and Hillary Clinton? And a lot of the pictures you saw on the internet, they had just him, Jesse Jackson, and Al Sharpton. But as Washington Times reports, networks crop Louis Farrakhan from Clinton, Jackson, Sharpton image at Aretha's funeral. Louis Farrakhan. Let me remind you. You probably already know this. Louis Farrakhan is the Nation of Islam leader. I don't have anything against Islam. I've had many, like I said. He's a radical. He Twitter did make a stand, and Twitter's just been nuts lately. I mean, well, it's always nuts, but Jack, I had so much promise for you, and then just all the BS with Alex Jones because you put him in this timeout. But you did do one good thing. You took Louis Farrakhan's blue check mark. Woo! Thank goodness you did that. But isn't that interesting how the news networks cropped out pictures of Louis Farrakhan? I mean, next to Bill Clinton, Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson. What? Why did they do that? Why? Is he a controversial figure? Is he someone that spews anti-white racism, anti-gay slurs, and sexism? He's an anti-Semitic. I mean, that's a no-brainer. He was featured in the marathon television coverage, but somehow didn't show up in the social media coverage from some of America's major networks. I mean, I'm looking at tweets from ABC News, MSNBC, and it's amazing. You just see those three clowns Bill Clinton, Jesse Jackson, and Al Sharpton next to each other. I mean, jeez Louise. But, however, as the Times quotes, however, Farrakhan, his movement continues to be popular. It appears with the African American community in major urban centers, and he is celebrated by the likes of Keith Ellison, Maxine Waters, and Representative Andre Carson. Apparently, mainstream Democrats like Clinton find mainstream. The Clintons are mainstream now. Good to know. Like Clinton, find it less plausible to alienate those voters than it is to stand up against racist, gay-bashing anti-Semites like Farrakhan. End quote. Jeez. I mean, the Clintons, the Sharptons, the Jacksons. Those are, I mean, Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton are just as racist, in my opinion, as Louis Farrakhan. But, I mean, people like Al Sharpton had a show on MSNBC. And he might still. I don't have cable news, so I couldn't tell you. But he is... he's a man that doesn't know how to speak. He is a funny one. And you know what? One thing that we're going to cover, and that's going to be on the other side of this break, is a man who made Ariana Grande remind us women have no safe place in America. Hey, but let's go ahead. Let's take a break. You're listening.
Lumberlax.com. Lumberlax is a lacrosse company started by an 11-year-old Kai Talley in Beaverton, Oregon. This kid plays lacrosse and uses the money he makes to help other less fortunate kids play. He partners with nonprofits to give money to kids that can't physically play the game at his level or any level due to special needs or illness. This is an amazing thing that he is doing, and he is extremely involved in his community and proud that he does this. Take a look at the website www.lumberlac.com or email them directly at lumberlac@comcast.net and order a custom shaft for yourself or someone else. They also do coaches gifts, team sticks. They work with people to do fundraisers and so much more. They are proud sponsors of Common Sense Radio with A.J. Davis. Please check out lumberlax.com.
Absolutely. Check out my friends over at lumberlax.com. Good people over there. And as we were talking about the Aretha Franklin funeral, the 9-hour, I mean, I know she was a remarkable lady, but 9-hour coverage and service. Jeez Louise. So, that's where we go to our friend Bishop Charles Ellis, who fondled Ariana Grande. Where's the outrage on this? Hashtag me too. But he apologized, and he was on the news claiming that he was hugging all the artists at the ceremony, and that he apologized if he accidentally made her feel uncomfortable by grabbing her breast. I mean, if you look at, and I will tweet out, I'll put it in the show notes, about the CNN picture, it starts right on where he has his arm around her, and he's joking. Dad, my daughter said since I'm 60, I didn't know what was going on, and I looked at the service and I saw Ariana Grande, and I thought it was a Taco Bell meal while he's squeezing her breast. I mean, come on, what? You know, he goes on to the news and he's apologizing. You know, I didn't. You know, I hugged males, I hugged females. I was trying to lighten things up at being 9 hours of coverage for this service. But where's the outrage over that? You know, Ariana wanted to remind us. I mean, she went on the Communist News Network, CNN, and after she sung the song, "You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman," a funeral was fit for a queen. Pastor, or bishop, Charles H. Ellis wrapped his right arm around Grande, pulled her close to him, and touched her breast. He did this on stage in a church during a funeral in front of thousands of attendees. Visibly uncomfortable and tense, Grande forced her way through awkward laughs as to not make a scene at the Queen of Soul's 8-hour funeral. Dang, my funeral's going to be like 10 minutes. I mean, 8 hours for the Queen of Soul? And then Ellis later apologized to Grande and her fans, telling the Associated Press, quote, "I do know, I guess I put my arm around her. Maybe I crossed the border. Maybe I was too friendly or familiar, but again, I apologize." And CNN goes, "The majority of us have felt what Grande undoubtedly felt on stage. The undeniable fear that accompanies a violation. The need to keep everyone around you happy while you're internally screaming." Sorry, I was internally screaming right there. "The cultural expectation to keep smiling while your bodily anatomy is wholly dismissed." My goodness. Have you ever internally screamed like that before? I mean, internally screaming about the mainstream media not, covering this. I mean, look. I mean, this is social justice warrior territory. Or is there something that we're missing here? Or are we too busy on other things right now? Are we worried about the Supreme Court? Are we worried about DeSantis saying monkeying up with socialist policies? Oh, wait, he used the word monkeying up. President Obama used that in the past, but President Obama's on the right side, on the right team. Or are we going to go, which we'll cover later on, the outrage about In-N-Out donating to the GOP? But don't worry, they donated to Democrats too. But we're not going to tell you the whole truth. But we're not worried about this hashtag #MeToo incident because he's on our team. And I don't know that for sure, but I'm guessing if you were sitting next to Bill Clinton at the Queen of Soul's funeral, and there's no way, I'm going to go out here on a limb, there's no way former President Bill Clinton sat at that funeral for 8 hours. No way. Well, I mean, unless he's... No, I won't go there. Never mind. He's well, he could have had his Depends on. That, you know what? I take that back. He could have had his Depends on. So he could have. But seriously, Harvey Weinstein was a nasty man. There's a lot of people that just on allegations were losing their job, were getting booted off of Twitter, out of primetime TV, out of different areas for far less, just of allegations of impropriety years ago, or for sending some nasty tweet whenever they were a teenager and didn't know what was going on in life. But there's a guy that in front of thousands of people, still, no one's talking about it. That's why I had to bring it up tonight, because I find it repulsive that the consistency. Do I think Charles Ellis is a bad guy? I don't know him, so I can't make that determination right now. But from what I've seen, from the video of him putting his hands on an area that they don't belong on Mrs. Grande, to apologizing within 24 hours or less about a situation, I absolutely think the consistency of the mainstream media is disgusting. I think it's something that should be broadcasted. I think it should be something that is brought to their attention, and I encourage you to tweet ABC, NBC, all of them. Send them emails, send them Facebook messages, and blow them up, because consistency, the truth, matter. And that's all I'm trying to get to. I'm not calling for him to lose his job or anything like that, but he should self-reflect on what he did and do what he thinks is right. I mean, if he thinks staying on, if I was in his congregation, I would be the first one up calling for him to retire. That's a fact, Jack. It is. And I guess NBC did cover a little bit, but I don't think they pushed it like, all the other nasty incidents that have happened, Because NBC's headline, Bishop apologizes inappropriately touching Ariana Grande at Aretha Franklin funeral. So, I mean, at least they had the cojones to say something like that. But that they report it and then boom, it's gone. They don't say anything else. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So let's see. Where do we want to go next? Let's go to theblaze.com, and we're going to talk about what one Alabama lawmaker made an interesting proposal to In-N-Out. He wanted them to leave California and come to Alabama, because one of the Democratic leaders, what is his name? Eric Bauman. He has called for the boycott of In-N-Out. And I'm going to tell you what. I've had In-N-Out maybe once or twice my entire life. I've had Chick-fil-A more times than I can count. What are some other good places that I like? I could go on and on, but those are two of the mainstream places that are in the news right now. Chick-fil-A is always in trouble for doing something, but I don't care what their politics are. Whenever I'm eating the chicken sandwich or, say, the 4x4 In-N-Out burger. And In-N-Out is coming to Oregon. They're actually going to be coming. So I say send them up. I'll eat there. I'll drive down to have a 4x4. And I could care less who they get donated money to. I'm to the point where I'm sick of politics and everything. I'm so sick of it. I stayed as far away from news this week as I could. Without, I still follow a little bit of it, but my goodness, everything has to be politicized. I mean, for instance, the Colin Kaepernick thing. Like I said, they're a private company, do what you want. He's been getting paid since 2011 from them, and they just decided to put him on the Just Do It 30-year anniversary. Who cares? I don't care. Take the sacrifice away. He didn't sacrifice anything. That's my opinion. But he can say that. Who cares? We have more important things to worry about than what Nike, what Reebok, what In-N-Out, what the Democratic Party of California is doing. My goodness. We need more solutions. We need more people with good ideas to help cure things like cancer, to cure things like colitis, to cure diabetes, to cure actual things that matter in people's life. But no. We're all going to be, high fives about the Just Do It Nike campaign. I don't care. I will not cover it anymore, except for one thing I will say. former Iranian president is saying that Colin is a great quarterback and should be in the NFL. I disagree. I don't think he was that good of a quarterback, Personal opinion. Whatever. California's on fire. California's on fire with that Democratic Party. And it's funny. Back to the In-N-Out thing. The Democratic leader boycotted. It's called for the boycott, despite the fact that In-N-Out donates to both Republicans and Democrats. And in fact, the burger shop has donated $50,000 to Californians for jobs and a strong economy this year. A pact aligned with Democrats' Los Angeles Magazine reported. Still, Bauman's call for a boycott didn't go as planned. Californians are fiercely loyal to In-N-Out, which they claim serves up the best fast food burger. Not only did Democrats not buy into the boycott, but the protests sent droves of Republicans to their nearest In-N-Out location. That's what I would. I mean, look what boycotts do to you. I mean, you look at when they were calling for the boycott of Chick-fil-A in New York City. There's a big controversy, but in New York, I think it was New York City. I mean, forgive me if I don't have the location, but they were putting in a Chick-fil-A somewhere, and people were calling boycott, and more people went there to eat than boycotted. I mean, they had record sales. Oh, I love it. I mean, this is, that's like I said. I mean, friends, please, it is agonizing to me. Whenever people are, I mean, I talk to people, I see people's Facebook feed, I see Twitter, I see all kinds of things. I mean, Instagram has become pretty good where picture. Please keep it that way. Please. Oh, pardon me. A little bit too more. My Bud Light with orange. That's my drink right there. We have got to stop politicizing everything. It's horrible. And people are going to be mad with this story, but I think it's actually when you talk about the rule of law, you talk about things that are important. This is one thing. Huge number of illegals opting out of welfare programs fearing Trump admin crackdown. Well, and this is a letter or an article by Amanda Prischert. I can't pronounce her last name. We're just going to say it. Writer Amanda over at the Daily Wire. Illegal immigrants are opting out of government welfare programs out of fear of Trump administration crackdown coming down the pipe. Reported Politico on Monday. Due to a proposed Trump administration rule to deny legal status to illegals on welfare, both legal and illegal immigrants have been inundating healthcare providers with calls demanding they be dropped from federal assistance programs like WIC. Agencies in at least 18 states say they've seen drops of up to 20% in enrollment, and they attribute the change largely to fears about the immigration policy, says the report. There were some 7.4 million women and children enrolled in WIC when President Trump first took office. That number declined to roughly 6.8 million in May. Look, I will be the first one here to say I don't want to see any child go hungry. But we have to get a hold of the law. We are a nation of laws. Okay? If we're going to have open borders, well, it's not the America that I want to be in. And trust me, we need to refine the system of bringing people here that want to come here. But if you haven't followed the law, you need to go to the end of the line, and we need to have a serious nationwide conversation on this. It's every few weeks we're seeing stories like this. We're seeing things that are troubling. I mean, we shouldn't be seeing children go hungry. But also, on the flip side, I'll come back on you. We have got to follow the laws. Because, say my brother goes and kills someone. Oh, well, he didn't mean to do that. Can he stay out? No. We're going to put him in jail where he would belong if he did something like that. If he murdered someone, that is where he belongs. So, I mean, I see the good out of it. I see 99.99% good out of following laws. 99.999%. There's that 0.01% where you have a little bit of compassion for people. And that's what some of open borders people will tell you. Well, have compassion, have love. We do. We don't let them die out in the Rio Grande coming here. No, we won't. It's absurd. Well, you know what? I'm gonna take my last break, and then on the flip side, I have one last story to share with you tonight, and I cannot wait to. It's out of Florida with our newest Democrat socialist. You're listening to Common Sense Radio. Catch you on the flip side, my friends.
You're listening to the Lanterns Radio Network. We are the network dedicated to empowering the individual, illuminating the truth, defending American exceptionalism, and inspiring future generations. Stay connected and get involved at lanterns.buzz for great radio. Get commentary and news of the day. Lanterns.buzz.
In every rising of the sun, my purpose was to be thankful to be alive. I was even more thankful for the blessings that came with this life, specifically Virdis, my wife. But that came to an end when Akhlavain and her minions violently took her away from me. So my new purpose in this life is to gather all the pieces of the Stone's Heart so I can defeat Akhlavain and get back my bride. Join me as I travel to new worlds, making new friends and avoiding old enemies. Read more about my story in the first 2 books of the Stone's Heart series, which are now available on Amazon.com in Kindle format. The first book is The Quest for Savitvarda, and that is followed by The Heart of Pagaila. Stone's Heart is more than a fantasy and a sci-fi quest. It's me fighting to get back my precious wife, despite the overwhelming odds against me. Stone's Heart. Join, explore, and believe.
Welcome back, folks. The Florida Democrat socialist, Andrew Gillum. The hype behind this candidate was like no other. You had Sean King, you had Bernie Sanders supporting Andrew, even though he's old, he's senile, and he's wearing his depends traveling around he forgot what he's traveling around to. He's raising money and awareness for Democratic Socialist candidates. Well, I think this is going to be I hope this is a great race. I cannot wait to see the debates on this, because Andrew Gillum showed support yesterday for a $33 trillion government-run healthcare system. And Dana Bash quoted the study from George Mason University that would cost the government $33 trillion, and that's with a T, over the next decade, which obviously would require a significant tax increase. Bash said, "Are you ready to tell people in Florida that they need to pay a lot more in taxes to fund your health care plan?" I I don't know. I don't know. Gillum responded by claiming that Florida couldn't do it alone. Taxes would not be raised and that 700,000 people would be helped before he claimed that it was a personal issue for him, as he claimed that he had a rough childhood. So let me quote you. $33 trillion in taxes. And over the next decade, and this pushes you because you had a rough childhood. Come on, man. You're on CNN. You are on mainstream media who actually gives you the free publicity, gives you cake questions, and you can't even answer those questions. You defer. So over at the Daily Wire, Ryan Saavedra, he sums it up in brilliant. The plan will save trillions. Florida can't do it alone. Taxes won't be raised. We can help 700,000 people. I had a rough childhood. Trump DeSantis to blame. I'll raise taxes. I mean, that's brilliant right there. Oh, brother. I mean, and I'm going to retweet that. So you go on there and 4,000 people have retweeted that. Oh, jeez Louise. I mean, he is sharp. He is absolutely sharp. Ooh. Well, hey, folks, I want to thank you for tuning in. Remember, this show is to prepare you for the week, and just remember, like I told you in the beginning, Brett Kavanaugh, the world will end. The apocalypse is here. I don't know what to do. His hearings are coming in. Oh, tonight, 42,000 pages were released to the Democrats, but Chuck Schumer's calling for a delay. Well, no senator can look at through all these emails, these papers. What? How dare you? Come on. I mean, he's going to be confirmed. I mean, Well, toodles, folks. Have a great week. And we end this show like we end it every week. God bless you. God bless the United States of America.
You're listening to the Lanterns Radio Network. We are the network dedicated to empowering the individual, illuminating the truth, defending American exceptionalism, and inspiring future generations. Stay connected and get involved at lanterns.buzz for great radio. Get commentary and news of the day. Lanterns.buzz.